Imagine waking up every day to the oppressive realization that no matter what you do, you are trapped. You cannot leave your country, and even the idea of trying to escape feels like an impossible dream. This is the reality for more than 25 million people who live in North Korea. This isolated nation has earned its reputation as a totalitarian state, but it goes much further than simply being ruled by an authoritarian regime. North Korea is arguably the largest and most elaborate prison in human history, not because it has walls. No, its prison lies in the psyche, the land, and the very structure of society. In this video, we will explore how North Korea became the world's largest and most successful prison system, built not with concrete walls, but through fear, surveillance, and a relentless control over every aspect of its people's lives. We will dive deep into the methods of oppression, how the regime prevents escape, and the impact of North Korea's isolation on its citizens. From its restrictive borders to its stifling digital environment, North Korea's control is more than just physical. It permeates every facet of existence. But before we dive into today's topic, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Your support means the world to us, and it's greatly appreciated. North Korea's transformation into the world's most insular and controlled nation began with its formation at the close of World War II. The division of the Korean peninsula in 1945, after Japan's defeat, set the stage for two ideologically opposed states to emerge, South Korea and North Korea. In the north, Kim Il-sung, who would become the country's first leader, sought to establish a communist regime under the influence of the Soviet Union. The Korean War in 1950 further entrenched the divide between the two Koreas, leaving the peninsula scarred and split by the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ. The war ended in 1953, but the ideological and political rift remained deep. Over the next decades, Kim Il-sung's regime not only turned North Korea into a communist state, but also implemented a policy of extreme isolationism known as juche, or self-reliance. This was the cornerstone of the country's ideology, which emphasized total independence from the outside world. North Korea's focus on preserving its internal control would ultimately lay the foundation for the prison-like environment it is today. Though North Korea doesn't have literal walls surrounding it, it has constructed something far more sophisticated. An invisible prison that is nearly impossible to escape from. The country's borders, particularly the northern border with China and Russia, were once seen as a potential escape route for defectors. North Koreans who sought freedom could flee into these neighboring countries, hoping to reach South Korea or other nations that might grant them asylum. Over the years, however, the regime has invested heavily in making escape as difficult as possible. North Korea's geographic isolation has become one of its most powerful tools of control. The country's rugged mountainous terrain, combined with a tightly monitored border, ensures that escaping is a nearly impossible feat. Previously, the northern border was a viable escape route for many defectors, especially those seeking asylum in China. But by the 2010s, the North Korean government began fortifying its borders with physical barriers such as fences, walls, and surveillance equipment, making it harder for individuals to escape. The government also installed watchtowers and armed patrols to monitor the border closely. By 2020, the borders were not just reinforced, they were shut down entirely. The COVID-19 pandemic served as a convenient pretext to completely seal off the country. This move made it nearly impossible for anyone to leave, as North Korea shut down its border with China and stopped most travel and trade altogether. The use of the pandemic as an excuse served as a perfect opportunity for the regime to strengthen its isolation, preventing both outsiders from entering and citizens from leaving. By 2021, satellite imagery revealed that the North Korean government had taken its border security to an entirely new level. The border with China, which once provided some semblance of hope for defectors, had become a nearly impenetrable fortress. Fences lined the border, reinforced by concrete walls and heavily patrolled areas. Soldiers armed with orders to shoot on sight anyone attempting to cross have ensured that even the most daring escape attempts are foiled. The construction of military outposts along the border has also made it nearly impossible to flee. Alongside these physical barriers, the North Korean government employs a system of informants who constantly monitor activity in border regions. Locals are incentivized to report suspicious behavior, creating an atmosphere of paranoia. This system of surveillance is crucial to maintaining the regime's control over the population. The North Korean government has designed its border fortifications not just as a physical barrier but as a psychological one. It wants to create a situation where the very thought of escape is terrifying, knowing that the consequences of being caught attempting to flee are severe. These consequences often extend beyond the individual to their entire family, who can be punished for the act of defection. While the physical borders of North Korea are formidable, the most effective prison walls are invisible. The regime has implemented a far-reaching system of surveillance that monitors every aspect of its citizens' lives. This network of control extends from the moment a child is born, when they are immediately enrolled in a state-run education system that teaches them to revere the leadership of the Kim family. North Koreans are constantly surveilled through a mix of state surveillance and neighborhood informants. The government has embedded agents in every facet of society, from local markets to schools, who keep an eye out for any signs of disloyalty. The presence of these informants creates an atmosphere of fear and mistrust, as people never know if the person next to them might be reporting on their actions. This fear is reinforced by the regime's extensive use of propaganda. The state has made it clear that questioning the leadership or expressing discontent is not just a political crime. It is a betrayal of the country itself. From an early age, children are taught that the Kim family is infallible, and any deviation from the official narrative is unthinkable. This culture of fear and loyalty ensures that the regime's control over its people is maintained not through force alone, but through psychological manipulation. Additionally, North Koreans are monitored through their digital communications. The country's closed-off internet means that ordinary citizens cannot access global news or communicate freely with the outside world. Instead, they are confined to a tightly controlled, state-run intranet where only government-approved content is available. Any attempt to access foreign media or communicate with people outside the country can lead to arrest and punishment. At the heart of North Korea's prison-like system is the figure of Kim Jong-un. The country's leadership has carefully cultivated a personality cult around Kim, elevating him to a level of reverence that borders on the divine. His image is ubiquitous, appearing on posters, in classrooms, and on television. North Koreans are taught from a young age to worship Kim Jong-un as a god, and this worship permeates every aspect of society. Kim Jong-un's reign is centered around the idea that he is the father of the nation, the protector of the people, and the embodiment of the country's very identity. This personality cult serves as the foundation for his totalitarian rule, and it ensures that loyalty to him is seen as an absolute moral duty. The state goes to great lengths to maintain his image and authority. Citizens are expected to display unwavering loyalty to Kim Jong-un, and any sign of disloyalty, no matter how small, is punishable. The state's propaganda machine plays a crucial role in upholding Kim Jong-un's cult of personality. Television programs, films, and even public speeches are all designed to reinforce his image as the all-powerful leader. Children are taught to recite phrases praising his leadership, and adults are expected to constantly demonstrate their loyalty to him. This system of adulation ensures that Kim's control over the population remains unchallenged. The most terrifying aspect of this cult is that it goes beyond mere political loyalty. North Koreans are expected to worship Kim Jong-un not just as a leader, but as the very symbol of the nation. The Kim family has carefully created a dynasty that is seen as unbreakable and beyond reproach. This cult of personality extends to every facet of North Korean society and ensures that the population remains docile and obedient. Despite the regime's best efforts to seal off the country and eliminate escape routes, North Koreans continue to attempt to flee. However, the number of defectors has drastically decreased in recent years. Once, thousands of North Koreans risked their lives to escape each year, using smuggling networks to get through China and toward freedom in countries like South Korea, Japan, and even the United States. But as the regime has tightened its grip, the chances of success have diminished. By 2020, the number of defectors had dropped to just over 200, a stark contrast to the thousands who managed to escape in previous decades. This decline is directly tied to the regime's increasing use of border fortifications and the crackdown on defectors. The costs have become so high, both financially and in terms of risk, that escape has become a distant hope for most. Many defectors who managed to escape have shared horrifying accounts of their journeys. Some were forced to live in hiding for years, relying on underground networks to stay safe. Others were sold into human trafficking or forced labor after crossing into China. The path to freedom is fraught with danger, and even if a defector makes it to a third country, they often face extreme hardships, including detention and deportation back to North Korea. As the regime continues to evolve, the prospects of escape continue to fade. The international community has made efforts to support defectors and provide resources for those trying to flee, but the North Korean government has adapted its strategies to make escape nearly impossible. Through fortifications, surveillance, and the complete control of information, North Korea has created an environment where freedom is nothing more than a distant fantasy. For most North Koreans, escape is a pipe dream. The walls are not just physical. They are psychological, cultural, and technological. North Korea has built a prison not with steel and concrete, but with fear, propaganda, and isolation. And as long as this regime remains in power, it will continue to be the largest and most sophisticated prison in human history. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned to our channel for more fascinating topics, and don't forget to subscribe to History and Curiosities for more videos like this.